1911, I'm strapped. Dream team coming back with a slap. Hey, on the block where it's at. White cracks getting smacked. Who gon' read? I'm about to snap. This straight facts, my boy, no cap. Scripts going up.
Come here, bro. Come here, my brother. What's your name? Luis. Good to meet you, Luis. I'm Jehu. Now, you don't know where you come from? Why do you think that's so? You don't know? We're going to show you, my brother. Today is your day. What we're trying to, you know what we're doing here today? We're trying to restore back your identity.
That's right.
Because you just said that you don't know it. The blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans were the only nation of people that do not know who we are and where we come from.
Bring it out.
Deuteronomy 32 and 26. We're going to show this young king today because the other nations, they don't consider you a king. They don't consider you a god. They consider you a spit, a beaner, a pocho, a chicano. All these names that are outside of the Bible. You understand that? Watch this. What's your name? What's your name again? Luis. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 26. I said, I would scatter them into corners. I would make them, the remembrance of them, to cease from among men.
What's your nationality? Spaniard. Okay, but hold on. You said earlier that you didn't know your nationality. So why do you consider yourself a Spaniard? Okay, but how does that relate to you calling yourself a Spaniard? Do you call yourself a Spaniard because you speak Spanish? There you go. Guess what, Luis? That's a language.
Right.
It's not a nation. A nation is a group of people that have something in common. Does the black and Hispanics have something in common? We don't. We kill each other. We rob from each other.
Right.
We sleep with each other's sisters and our brothers' wives and husbands.
Is that good?
That's us. Because we don't know who we are in the Bible. So you're calling yourself a language. Listen to what the Bible says again, Luis.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 26. And I said, I would scatter them unto corners. I would make them the remembrance of them to cease.
The remembrance of them to what?
To cease.
The remembrance of who you are in the Bible. God said, I'm going to make it cease. You're not going to know who you are. Read it again.
I said, I would scatter them.
I will scatter them. What do you think that means, Luis? The Bible says, I will scatter them. What do you think that means? He's talking about a specific people. What does it mean when the Bible says, I will scatter them? Meaning you and your forefathers. What do you think that means, Luis? If you don't know, that's fine, my brother, because we're here to teach you. You don't know? I'm going to show you. Watch this, Luis. Read it again.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 26. I said, I would scatter them.
I will do what?
I would scatter them unto corners.
Unto where?
Unto corners.
The four corners of the world.
Right.
Through slave ships.
That's right.
Did you know that slavery was in the Bible, Luis?
Oh, yeah.
Now you're going to wake up today, Luis, because how old are you?
That's what we always doing.
You've been living a life for 16 years, Luis. Your mom told you that Santa Claus was white, that he came through a chimney, right? Didn't she tell you all that kind of stuff? We got to celebrate Mother's Day. But what she failed to teach you was that we're the biblical people of the Bible.
Right.
Read it again for Luis.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 26. I said, I would scatter them unto corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease.
Through slavery, Luis. So your great-great-great-grandpa, the conquistadores came on this side of the world.
Have you heard about
They came to Mexico and they took your forefathers back to Spain.
Bring it out.
Watch this. I showed you 1600 slavery. When do you think this happened, Luis? What year? You see the problem, Luis? Are you in high school? Do they teach you slavery there? You know why? Because you're not going to be able to connect that you're the people of the Bible.
Yes.
Hold that. Give me Ezekiel 3 and 11. This is how we can prove who we are. This is how we can prove who we are, Luis. Your pastor, your leaders, the so-called people that are supposed to be watching the community, they're not teaching us, brothers, who we are. And what we got to do to stop hating each other. Stop killing each other. Stop selling drugs to each other.
Bring it out.
If we had bravery, if we say that who we are, how come we don't go to the White House and do that? How come we don't go to the white neighborhoods and do that? Read 32 and 26 again.
Yes, sir. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 26. I said, I would scatter them onto the corners. I would make them, remembrance of them, to cease from among men.
So we're talking about slavery. And I asked you, Ezekiel 3:11, that's what it was. Ezekiel 3:11. And I asked you, do they teach you slavery at school? You said no. When I was going to school, they taught us slavery. But I wasn't able to connect it. I was like, well, where did we come from? What we were doing over here in Mexico and Tenochtitlan? That's where our people were at. The Aztecs, the Peruvians, the Incas, the Mayans. And our brothers right here that you see right here, because the blacks and Hispanics is one people.
That's right.
We've been divided because you look lighter than us. I might be a little bit, you might be a little bit lighter than me, but I might be more lighter than my brothers right here. But guess what? We've been divided from religion, skin color, beliefs,
that's right,
neighborhoods. Because some of our people, what do, Luis? They say, we got to get out of the ghetto. We got to go with the white man where he lives. He lives in peace. I want to get my kids out. So when we move into the white neighborhoods or the Asian neighborhoods, guess what happens, Luis? We assimilate.
Yes, right.
Read the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3 and verse 11. And go, get thee to them of the captivity unto...
What did the Bible say from the top?
And go, get thee to them of the captivity.
Of what?
Of the captivity.
Of what?
Of the captivity.
Bring it out.
The Old Testament, James 1:1. From the Old Testament to the New Testament, the Bible talks about slavery. That's our punishment. From the time of Babylon, the Persians, the Assyrians, the Greeks, the Romans, and today, captivity, Luis.
Right.
Because we disobey God.
Right.
Is the Caucasian man punished?
Right.
No. He runs what? What does he run? What does the Caucasian man run? He runs the whole world.
Right.
Is the Asian man in oppression? There you go. What about the Arab man? Is he in oppression? No, because why? Why do you think that is, Luis? I just don't want you to agree with me. I want you to turn your gears. Because the school system is a prison system. And what they're trying to make you do, Luis, without you knowing, because it's a spiritual battle, they're trying to put you to sleep.
Bring it out.
When you have kids, you're going to repeat the same process over and over. We got to stop that cycle, Luis. This is why this is important. So you can get the knowledge, take it with you, and teach who? Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Now you're going to become that leader in your household. And when you're ready to come out to battle with us, then you become the leader for your community.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is